Alright. You guys ever notice that like the way that someone holds a mic up on stage like completely changes the vibe? Like if I hold it down at the bottom, like I actually look like a comedian, you know? But if I hold it at the top, now I'm a rapper. I'm about to start rhyming up here. But it doesn't really matter which way I pick, because either way it looks like I'm about to say something controversial that I'm going to regret for the rest of my life. So I won't be doing that, hopefully. But if any of you did come here tonight to hear something controversial, I got one for you. You ready? I don't drink. I know. It's crazy. It's not much of a surprise to a lot of people, because you can tell from a mile away that I'm a huge loser. Like, a crazy night for me is splurging on a bottle of San Pellegrino and a bag of name brand chips. But these pop and chip nights can get pretty crazy. Yeah. But the fact that I don't drink was particularly interesting to this one guy earlier this year. I mentioned this fun fact about myself, and he looked at me like bewildered. And he was like, so if you don't drink, like, what do you do? Like, do you have a vice or anything? And first of all, I was like, vice? We're using big boy words? Okay. And then I was like, not really knowing what he wanted me to respond with, I was like, no, I don't like do drugs or like drink or anything. And the look this man gave me, it was as if he'd never heard the word sober in his entire life. It was like the look that a sane person would give me if I had been like, yeah, like I shoot heroin every Tuesday at 5 p.m. What about it? So suffice to say, he's not invited to my next pop and chip night. I think he would ruin the vibe. But if you're wondering what I get up to at these pop and chip nights, that's so crazy. Other than relishing how cool I am, obviously, it's mostly scrolling on Instagram. And as I was scrolling on Instagram the other day, I saw this post that said, if your major ends with the word studies, then your opinion doesn't matter. It's a useless degree. And as a philosophy major, I completely agree. Okay guys, you're gonna have to hear me out on this one. Majors are kind of like star signs. No matter what yours is, if you tell somebody, there's always gonna be that one person that's like, I knew it. You were totally giving philosophy energy. Makes me wonder how far they're gonna go with it. Like if they're gonna have a friend that runs up to me and is like, yes, I burnt my toast this morning, which was a sign from the universe that you're burnt out from writing so many essays. Oh my god, yeah, like, oh my god, my hair was greasy this morning. Obviously, Greece, ancient Greece. You're being forced to study ancient Greece, I knew it. Anyway, so my Starbucks barista fucked up my order this morning, which was a sign from the universe that you're in a useless degree that's going to leave you working as a barista in 4 years. For the record, I could never be a Starbucks barista. I would be shoving lemon loaf Kit Pops in my bag every night. I'd be too tempted. That's why I'm going to end up as a bartender instead, because they're way cooler, and I wouldn't be tempted to steal what I'm selling. But as I'm working on that useless degree, something weird keeps happening where I kind of see my professors like celebrities. I think it has something to do with the fact that I only ever see them on a stage or on a screen that makes me feel like office hours are actually just a Vsauce meet and greet. But I did probably take it a little bit too far this one time when my professor mentioned that he wrote a book and I took it upon myself to buy the book and get it signed. It's not my fault, you know, it was one of those online chem classes. So when I finally met the guy, I felt like I just talked to Hank Green. Like, it was really embarrassing though. I walked in there and I was like, I'm such a huge fan of your work. Like, I'm taking the advanced version of this class next year. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. And it made me look insane. And I swear, I'm just insanely nerdy. But speaking of nerds, I love the logic in kid shows. Like when they have a smart character that's just spits random bullshit that sounds sciencey. Like, yes, Bartholomew, I'm sure the square root of pi is gonna solve for the trajectory of that slice of cake through space-time or whatever. But I want to be able to spit random bullshit and have it solve all my problems too. But no, I have to abide by the laws of physics and the law. But yes, Brody, winning the homecoming game will make your parents get back together. That's how it works. That's how it works. Speaking of kids shows, let's talk about my childhood. Yeah! I had this stuffed sheep as a kid named Lammy, which was short for lamb chop, which, by the way, is very morbid. But can you imagine a kid coming up to you and being like, this is my stuffed sheep, lamb chop, and this is my Barbie, human flesh. I never really established like a gender for Lammy, because Lemmy didn't like trucks, so clearly born a boy. And Lemmy didn't have emotions, so clearly wasn't a girl. So I just kind of flip-flopped between calling Lammy he or she, depending on how I was feeling about it. Like, if they were nice to me, I'd let them have a taste of the patriarchy for a little bit. Okay, alright, hate him, you can have it. If they were mean to me, I'd be like, alright, now you can't drive. But, I never really established a gender for him. And eventually I grew out of this phase and I was able to enter into the world of social media, where I was introduced to people who actually do identify with like different gender expressions and prefer to be called he or she at like different times. And when I was introduced to this, I just sat there bewildered. Like, oh my god, these people stole my idea. So if any of you in the crowd identify as genderqueer, and it's 2024, I know some of you do, you can thank Lammy for doing it first. Or you can thank me for inventing it. Yeah, might have been gay people tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling. I'll update you guys at the next show. I'll let you know if I did it. Thank you.